Welcome back to another episode of the King's Court Podcast, or as we call it, the Bethesda Brothers Podcast. I am the KingFanMan. I am joined with my partner in crime, the legend, Joey Caps. How you doing, Brother Joe?
Doing all right, Mr. King, Mr. KingFanMan himself. How are you doing?
I am good. It is good to be back with you. We lost a week or two, but it is great to be back with you.
Yes, I'm excited to get back, and this is a good way for me to get back going. So let's put on a good show for the people.
Absolutely. And today I want to talk about something that's been on my mind, and it is the future of Fallout 76. There's a lot that's been happening. One, of course, is Jeff Garner stepping down as the lead developer and the head of the Austin studio at BGS. And Bethesda not saying anything. They haven't said anything. They haven't named another lead to the studio. They haven't. They didn't say bye, Jeff, or anything. Haven't told us anything about what's going to be going on with Fallout 76. First of all, let's just start right there. Isn't that a little strange? Jeff has been with Bethesda Game Studios since Fallout 3, since the days of Oblivion.
Yeah, and apparently this was his decision.
Right.
Like Bethesda didn't force him out. He said, "Hey, I'm going." So it makes you think, like, well, what's going on? I mean, people are in and out all the time.
Right.
Even when it comes to this world, this gaming world. So it's not like uncommon for this stuff to happen. 76 could still stick around for a while and do really well. But yeah, it throws up a few red flags when the project lead leaves and wants to leave. So maybe it has something
and
to
especially
do with
when he leaves and the studio doesn't say anything. It would be great for them to say, Jeff, congratulations on your tenure here. You've done a great job. We're gonna. The studio's going to be in great hands, though. Mark Tucker's taking over. We don't know who's taking over. We don't know what's going on. But there's just been a deaf silence.
Yeah, and that's a little. My dog might start barking in a little bit, so I'm just letting you know. That's when you get a little. It gets a little nerve-wracking because with 76, it's almost like it's transforming into something else now. With private worlds and then them bringing in, even more content like the pit. Mm-hmm. So it's adding more stuff and it's growing, and your project lead leaves as you're trying to grow your game and push it in a, kind of a different direction than what it was in prior, because nuclear winter, they abolished that. That's out of here for the public, for the private worlds, the custom worlds, I should say.
And we cannot take out of context that Microsoft has just taken over too, which is another huge change.
So it's like, are they not feeling it? Like, are certain people just leaving? And it makes you think, it's like, wow, like, who's next? Who's to say Todd Howard doesn't leave? I'm not saying he is. I don't think he will. Right. But who knows? We wouldn't have thought Gardner, he would leave. We wouldn't have thought that would happen, and it happened.
Absolutely.
He's been around since Oblivion, or even before that. We didn't think he would go, and he left. So we don't know. Right. We don't know what the situation is. We have no idea. Maybe they want him to take a pay cut. We don't know.
You bring up expeditions and, the pit, what we're looking for next year. And that's about the only thing we know about next year. And again, that's what I want to look at in this podcast is what is coming up in the future. What does the future of Fallout 76 look like? Is Microsoft behind it? Are they going to put their full weight behind it? And are we going to have, a lot of new content for 76? And what is that content going to look like?
Yeah, when did they release the last roadmap? What the yearly roadmap when it told us, spring, summer, fall, winter. Was it last winter when we received that?
They did another one this spring. They gave us one this spring.
For like the whole year though.
Yeah, they updated it.
Maybe
this
that was
spring.
it. Yeah, maybe that was it for the whole year. That's when we got it.
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll be due for that probably this upcoming spring then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be especially since Starfield's coming, and I know it's different studios, but Microsoft might say, we got to put everything into Starfield right now. So maybe 76 might take some resources away from that. And I know it's two different studios, but you really never know. You don't know what's happening. You don't know what they're doing. So, I mean, it's interesting, but like you said, Gardner leaving, I know it happens all the time, guys. I get it. But leaving during in a phase where 76 is evolving, kind of weird. And it's like, oh, what happened there? I want to know. So did they just say, hey, Jeff, your $300,000 salary is cutting down to $250,000, and he was like, adios, amigo, I'll take the severance, whatever.
Well,
I don't know.
76 is really at a crossroads. What are they going to do with it? Because there's a couple of things here, and we were talking about it before the podcast started. With multiplayer games, it's very hard to get the sauce just right, because if you make all story content, and this is what we were talking about, the players go through that story content so fast. In other words, if all they work on is story content, what we're used to in a Fallout game, quests. Mm-hmm. Well, we sit down and play through that, and you just go straight through it. They can make 20 hours of content. Well, you can go straight through it, and then you're done. In a multiplayer game, you need stuff to go back to. The dreaded Radiant quests. We hate to hear that word, Radiant quest. But what you need is, you need a good mixture of those is what you need. Mm-hmm. So they need to find, and I think that's what these expeditions are going to be, is hopefully a good mixture of that. I hope they're going to be a story-driven thing that we can keep going back to over and over and over. Another example that I give is something we've got coming up this winter. It's a public challenge, and this could either be something that they lay an egg on and it be totally lame and terrible, or it could be absolutely awesome. It's the Alien Public Challenge. Now bear with me, okay? We've got this Alien Public Challenge. Now, the Public Challenge, we've had a couple already in Fallout 76. One we had right before Wastelanders, where the public challenge was we had to kill a certain amount of Scorched and a certain amount of Scorched beasts. And then right before Steel Dawn, we had to gather a certain amount of steel and a certain amount of lead. You remember all those? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, those are the only public challenges that I can remember in the game anyway. So what is this public challenge about aliens? Well, like I said, they could lay an egg, and it could just simply be you've got to go out and get a certain number of Flatwoods monsters. Well, boy, that would be, yeah. But they could also make it something really, really cool and bring in the Zetans with Mothership Zeta and make it very lore-friendly, by the way, because me and you have talked several times. We did actually a podcast on this, that remember the vault inspector that inspected Vault 76 at its opening was actually abducted by Mothership Zeta. And of course that you learn that in Fallout 3's DLC, Mothership Zeta. So if they could actually bring in Mothership Zeta. Now, are they going to do that this winter in that public challenge? I don't know. But that would be wonderful. Yeah. That's the kind of content they need to bring, though.
I feel like, though, if they did do that, we would know. Just like the pit. I feel like if Mothership Zeta was on its way in some shape or form, we would know that.
But Joe, they need to bring some excitement to the game.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you there. I'm just saying.
I'm a guy that loves Fallout 76, and it's going to get stale if they don't start bringing some
I
excitement
mean,
back to
for
the game.
some, if you play the game just by yourself, sometimes it does get a little boring. It just does because you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. But if you're doing it with some friends and you're traveling the wasteland with a few buddies, then that's when it gets fun, and you also have to have your own imagination in order to.
Yes,
We talked about all that stuff,
absolutely. You've
but
still got the role playing, you've still got the
yeah,
season stuff, but
yeah.
for this game to endure and to have a base that is growing and thriving, they're going to have to interject some good content that is exciting, that is lore friendly, and that, as we are saying, that has that special sauce that has both story content that we're familiar with and that has the Radiant stuff that we come back to. It's got to have that mixture that is just right. And as you were saying before the podcast, that is very hard to do for a multiplayer game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to them just throwing in, different events that stay, that are permanent. I'm not saying one event every 3 months. I'm saying like they should try to get maybe like 5 more brand new events, release them at one time.
Oh, I love the seasonal events that they do.
Yeah, but I mean events that stay in the game.
Yeah.
Brand new events, it'll be refreshing. There's only so many times that you could do Manhunt. I mean, yeah, there's only so many times Mad Dog Malone could escape the prison.
I agree.
But yeah, I think if they added more events to the game, it would freshen it up a bit too if they just did that.
Well, let me be a little critical here, okay? Speaking of events, I just said I love the seasonal events, but
certainly
if you look at the Treasure Hunter event, the Scorched Holiday event, and now the Scorched Halloween event, those are all the exact same event with different skins on them.
Guys, for Mr. Fallout 76, for him to say all this stuff, that there's gotta be a change somewhere. There's gotta be something different. Add more pizzazz. Do something. Don't reskin an event, a seasonal event, time after time after time.
I mean, that's kind of jipping us, isn't it?
I agree 100%. Yeah, of course it is. It's the same thing. Same thing. Oh, a dusty pail, a small gift. It's the same freaking thing. What are we gonna do
Just
now? Open up
prizes.
a large trick or treat bag?
Exactly.
And I'll get junk in there. I'll get 5 aluminum scrap in a trick or treat bag, as well as my mole miner dusty pail.
They had a wonderful Halloween event. Of course, it was buggy. Yes, it was buggy, but are you telling me in a year or 2 years you can't fix one event?
Yeah, I mean, they have Meat Week that comes out. You have the Fasnacht Parade that comes out. I want more of those. That would be really cool. Every few months, come out with but like these treasure hunt events, they're okay. Once in a blue moon, they're all right. But like you said, don't try and tell me, hey, we have this holiday event for this whole week. It'll be a lot of fun. You're just reskinning the mole miner treasure hunt. That's what you're doing.
We have to get some
that was a phenomenal point. Certainly, yes.
Oh wow, you said I had a good point. Yeah, cool.
It was a great one. Honestly, it was great.
Well, as a game that I have been so excited over in the past, because of its creativity. I mean, you think, the Mothman, all these wonderful things that have put in the game, as you said, the Fasnacht, all these wonderful things that Fallout 76 has brought to the Fallout world. I hate to see them getting sloppy with it now. I hate, almost lazy with it, and I'm not. I'm trying not to be overly critical, but it's like, come on, where is that oomph and pizzazz again? You've got to bring some excitement back to the game. And again, they're at that crossroads that I'm really hoping now with Microsoft behind them that we're going to see that pizzazz. And this, upcoming event with the aliens is going to be a telltale sign.
Yeah.
Again, it could be either laying an egg or it could be something really, really cool.
So you're saying I agree that they need to give us something, something different because they haven't, I guess. So are you custom worlds? Do you think so far it's underwhelming?
Well,
Because they just came out with that, and now but then in the next breath, me and you are both saying we want more.
I think
So
I think what the deal is with custom worlds is number one, me and you understand it's just a first step and what they're
yeah,
trying to build on. But I don't think custom worlds appeals to the masses.
it can't because you need Fallout first to have your own.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's not something everybody's going to go. Ooh, that's what I want to do. I think they were trying to do exactly what me and you were talking about. They're trying to do something to the game that continues to get you to going back and back and back instead of putting their time into something that is just story that you'll just go through once.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to work. That kind of thing is not going to work. Another thing I have to bring a point on, and this is a danger you get into with this game as well. How much more can you add to Fallout 76, and I'm talking about the map itself, without this game getting too big to run? I've already noticed load times getting longer and things like that. We may have to start going off map for things.
Yeah.
Or they may have to start taking certain things off. And if they do start taking certain things off, does that just throw problems into the game?
They're not gonna do that. It all depends then. Like when it comes to load times and stuff, it depends your solid state drive, and because that helps increase everything. So I have an Xbox Series X, and my load times are non-existent in 76. Like I'm only there for a few seconds, and then I load in like immediately. It's really awesome. It's a different way to play the game. Like it's so cool. But that's just like a hardware thing, if anything. Because with the Series X, and I assume the PS5, I haven't played on the PS5, but I assume on there too, because of the solid state drives and the quicker technology, that these loading screens are cutting down, and they're cutting down in 76 specifically, as well as Skyrim too, but they've cut down in 76. So I don't think they're going to take away from the game in that sense, just because it's getting, too big. However, I wonder how it runs on the Xbox One, on the base PS4, like with all these improvements. Then, so I understand what you're saying, but if you have the hardware, you're okay.
Right.
You're all right. So I guess if they assume, hey, they could go out and get an Xbox Series X if they want an improved Fallout 76 experience.
I have another quick question, and this we may finish on this, but
yeah,
who is giving the vision? In other words, who is steering the ship when it comes to Fallout 76? Who was the one that was laying down the roadmap, that was creating the ideas? Was it Jeff Garner? Was he the main force behind it? Or what did he have other people that were doing it? That's
a great question.
I would assume a lot of it came from him.
You would think so, but then he leaves.
Yeah. So
it's confusing.
So are they up in the air now? Who's going to be given the directions now?
We don't know. We have no. That's the scary thing about it. That's the scary thing about him leaving. We don't know. There's uncertainty now surrounding 76, whether we like it or not. It's just because we love the game doesn't mean it's always in a good position. It doesn't mean that it's always thriving, because right now they lost their project lead in the middle of a cycle where the game's evolving into something else.
Right.
And now he's gone. So if his vision was custom worlds, right? Now he's gone, so someone else has to pick it up. Maybe
Jeff.
maybe we're okay. But.
Jeff was excited about the expeditions. That was what he talked about all the time, was the expeditions.
Yeah, and then he leaves.
And then
God bless him. Then he leaves, but he leaves.
Yeah.
So what's going on? Really?
I don't know.
I wonder what's happening. I'm getting all squeaky now. What's happening? What are we doing here? You bring up a great point. Who's
steering the ship?
Who is steering the ship? Whose hands? Who's controlling the wheel, man? What's going on?
Yeah.
Should we be nervous? Is it a group effort now because Gardner's gone? Should we be nervous? That's scary when there's not one leader. I mean,
I really wonder.
How
much is Maryland involved in the day-to-day or even the long-term planning of Fallout 76?
I don't think anything at all. They got Starfield.
Exactly.
Then Elder Scrolls 6.
Does Todd Howard have anything? Does he have any input in it at all?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Probably
I
not.
wouldn't think so.
Probably not.
He's got Starfield.
He's got enough worries about it. And then the Elder Scrolls
seriously.
After that. Yeah.
Indiana Jones, the Fallout TV show.
Well,
he's got a lot.
Well, let me ask you this.
Last on his list at this point.
Wouldn't you say we had a relatively slow year in regards to content this year with Fallout 76?
I don't know if you could say slow because we did get the Brotherhood of Steel content, right? Steel Dawn and then the other one.
Steel Rain, right.
Steel Rain. We got 2 sets of content.
And we got Worlds.
I don't know if necessarily. Yes, it wasn't. No, I wouldn't say it was slow.
And
maybe some lackluster.
We have to say too that was in the middle of COVID with them working at home.
Yeah,
and, you have to give them a little bit. You have to give them a little bit of break for that. So
yeah.
Again, that means we're at a crossroads. What are they going to do now that things are getting back to normal? And sometimes when you get a new project lead in there, you get new enthusiasm. You get a breath of fresh air. So maybe whoever's going to grab the reins, they're going to take it and go.
All right, I'm going to make one more point, King, before we end. I don't know how far in we are, but okay. I'm going to make one more point. With 76, I understand they want this ever-evolving game and it to be around forever. Blah, 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 blah. I get it. Microsoft, though, you see how much money. You could just go back to Fallout 4. We're not even talking about 76 with Fallout first, with all that stuff. Let's just go back to Fallout 4 back in 2015 when the game sold. And I mentioned this a million times. When the game sold $750 million worth of, copies within the first day the game came out, day one. 750 million. Microsoft will look at that and say, wow, if we bring out another single player Fallout game, a single player Elder Scrolls game, and we do it consistently, right? Because they want to make the money. They spent $7.5 billion on Microsoft. Yeah. So on Bethesda. So if they I'm not saying that they're going to kill 76, that they're going to dissolve 76, but at the same time, where can they make the most money? And it might be in new releases. Now, I'm not saying to water it down and to bring me a new Fallout every 2 years. I'm not saying that. Don't make this Assassin's Creed. Don't make this Call of Duty. Don't make it Madden. Please, don't do that. But at the same time, Microsoft is going to look at this from a business point of view. Absolutely. And say, hey, maybe we have Obsidian here who could help. I know that Avowed, Outer Worlds 2. I understand. We have Obsidian. Brian Fargo is there. You have not an Obsidian. I forgot the company he's in. I can't remember. But Brian Fargo, he develops Waste. He helps with Wasteland. So you have all these old Fallout dudes that created the older games under one umbrella, under one roof now. So it's like, all right, we have our budget, Microsoft's budget. Let's go and pump these out a little quicker. I wouldn't be shocked if they went in that direction. Now, I don't want them to dilute the product, but at the same time, you have to think that way. You
Exactly.
do. And then it's like, then what happens to 76? Do they convert it into an offline game where optional to play co-op with a buddy? Do they do something like that? I don't know. But Microsoft is going to look at what 76 made, the Fallout 4 made back in 2015, and say, imagine what it could do now. Fallout 5, Elder Scrolls 6. We'll see what Starfield does.
Well,
but that's new IP, so it might be unfair.
I will tell you.
That's my spiel.
I will tell you this, and I think this goes with your point, and I think you'll agree. I don't think they're going to allow a whole studio to continue to work on a game if they're only breaking even or just making a little bit of a profit.
Yes, I agree with you.
Now,
Yep.
I know for a fact, and Tamar is a guy that does really good with getting some information, and they did make their money back on Fallout 76 and made some money. But that is not to say that they made a bunch of money, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But Microsoft, as you said, they're in it for the money. And we have a whole studio of people that Microsoft is paying for that are working every day. Think about all the salaries and the insurance and that building and everything that they're paying for.
Yep.
And if that game does not start producing, then what are they going to do with it? As you said, they're going to pull back on it. So I think, again, I think Fallout 76 is at a crossroads. I hope they're not already pulling back with Jeff Garner leaving and them not saying anything. I hope that's not what's happening.
Could be. Maybe Fallout 5 will be out in the next 4 or 5 years. I know that sounds crazy, guys. I know it sounds nuts because we got Starfield on the way, then DLC. That should take you till 2023. I get it, but I'm telling you, Microsoft isn't going to wait 10 years for Elder Scrolls 6 to come out. They're not.
No.
They're not. So they're not going to wait 10 years for Fallout 5 either, or a Fallout game. They're not going to wait. Like, spend too much money. Return on investment. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
And don't you agree with me?
It should be exciting.
They're either going to be all in on 76 or all out.
I'm taking the latter on that. I'm sorry. I love the game. I'm not hating on the game. Don't take this as I'm hating on the game. I love the game. I put 1,000 hours into the game.
Well, I'm going to say right now we don't know yet, but I think we
have no idea.
I think we're going to know very quickly. I think we are going to know very soon.
Yeah. Speculation, King. That's what this is.
Yeah.
Speculating. We might be wrong on this podcast.
We will definitely know by E3. We will definitely see the direction that they're going.
I hope we know before that.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to wait another year. That's another year. I don't want to wait another year.
Yeah. Well, it's not another year.
I want to know before.
It's 6 months, but
not 6 months. We're in September.
Well, E3's in the spring.
It's in June.
Yeah, late spring, Late spring.
It's June.
I'm pushing it. I want E3 to get here.
Don't we got QuakeCon?
That's in August.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's in August. Well, I hope beyond hope that a new lead is announced and we get a new roadmap for Fallout 76 very soon. And they just turn loose on it. I really do. But yeah, I agree. I think we're going to know by the end of this year, start of January. That's when we normally get a roadmap for Fallout 76.
Yeah. Just to be clear, I want them to be all in on it. I love the game. It's a lot of fun. My buddies, a few of mine, they enjoy the game. And a friend of mine, he said it. He was like, listen, Fallout, this 76 in particular, gives him everything that he loves about Fallout in one game.
It does. Yeah.
So that says a lot coming from him. That
Yes.
says a lot. So, it's really fun. It's a good game. You don't want them to pull the plug on it. It is 3 years old. They just made their money back on the game. So we'll see.
Boy,
Sorry, King.
this was more depressing than I meant it to
Yeah, I'm
be.
sorry.
Yeah.
But King, more BGS releases, maybe.
Yeah. But the future could be very bright. So
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't know.
We're at the crossroads. They could go
We're just
either
being
way.
Debbie Downers right now.
No, I think we're just worried. We're just worried, is what it is.
I want to be a hopeful Harry.
Hopeful Harry. Okay.
That's what I want to be.
We have Debbie
But,
Downer and Hopeful Harry. Well, guys,
yeah.
thank y'all for joining us on this another episode of the King's Court, or the Bethesda Brothers podcast. Joe, do you have anything else you want to say before we go?
No, just this conversation was awesome. I had a really fun time. Honestly, I love this conversation, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens in the future. But King, thank you so much for having me on, man. I really appreciate it, and yeah, we will see.
Absolutely.